Governor Mike DeWine. Governor, good evening to you.
Good evening.
Let me ask you, Governor DeWine, what is your reaction to what is going on in Washington today?
This is a sad day for our country. The people who stormed the Capitol, the mob that did that, not only were endangering police officers and others, but it was really a direct attack on our Constitution. It literally stopped part of the election process of the President of the United States. The last step, that's usually a ceremonial event. I've been there a number of times, both as a House member and then as a Senate member, and it's a very inspiring event, usually. Whether you win or lose, and I've been there when my candidate won, and I've been there when my candidate lost, but it reaffirms, I think, in normal times, the fact that we have a great acceptance of who wins the election, even in very hotly contested, bitterly contested races, even in the Gore-Bush race, where it went all the way to the United States Supreme Court. We have to accept the results.
Yeah.
I voted for Donald Trump. I voted for Donald Trump. I'm for Donald Trump for president. But what happened today is just, it's despicable. The only people that are happy about what happened today are our enemies. Government of China, government of Russia. And, the rest of the world has got to be looking at what they see on the news tonight and just shaking their head about this great democracy.
Let me ask you about that. You say the only people in the world who are happy about this are our enemies. President Trump today said that he loved these people and he thanked them for being there. What do you think about that?
Well, you can love people, but you don't want them to break the law. And what they were doing is breaking the law. I mean, there's a fundamental difference between demonstrating. We have demonstrations in Washington virtually every day. I have demonstrations outside my house from people who don't like what I'm doing. And that's fully acceptable because it's protected in the First Amendment. But when people break into the U.S. Capitol and threaten the democratic process, that is simply unacceptable.
Let me ask you, Governor, as you pointed out a second ago, as a former congressman and former senator, you spent a lot of time in the Capitol building and that complex there. As you were watching things unfold today, as someone who's been there, what was going through your mind?
Well, I think the picture that shocked me the most was the U.S. Senate chamber. And obviously it was now being occupied by demonstrators. And then pictures of the House chamber. This is not the way democracy works. I mean, even people who believe that President Trump should have been elected or was in fact elected can't be in favor of this. No one can be in favor of this. I mean, the stopping of that process. But yeah, I mean, I know the place pretty well. And the one picture looked like Capitol Police who had guns drawn. It looked like in the Senate chamber on one side of the door, and you had a wild mob on the other side trying to get in. That looks like something that comes out from some third world country, not the United States. So, look, we're a resilient country. We're going to get through this. We're going to survive this, but we have to denounce this. We have to say this is just morally wrong and it's an attack on our Constitution. We are a nation of laws. We have procedures. They should be followed, not a mob like this.
Let me go back to something you said earlier. As you said, you supported President Trump in this election. In fact, you were a co-chair of his campaign in Ohio. I got to ask you this. By not conceding, by calling for this rally today and asking his protesters to fight and never give up, by urging those protesters to storm the Capitol today, how responsible is President Trump for what happened?
Well, I think it's a mistake. It was a mistake for him to continue this. Look, I've said throughout this process that we need to believe in the system. And believing in the system means believing in the courts, where the president or anybody else can go to court and challenge results in a state. That was done. It was done on numerous occasions. Courts made their decisions. So nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with, playing the hand all the way out, playing the game all the way out. But the game's over at this point. It's time, to move on. And those of us who were on the losing side, we should accept that.
And you have said that before, but let me ask you, you've said that before, that you've stated that before, but let me ask you again, by not doing that, by telling these folks, storm the Capitol, by saying we're never going to give up, how responsible is the President of the United States for what happened today, in your mind?
Look, history will judge who's responsible and how much responsibility he has. I called on him today in a public statement to tell the demonstrators to leave the Capitol building, to leave. No, they should not be in there. He did do that. I'm sure not in response to what I said, but he did do that and told them to leave, which is a good thing to do.
Well, let me tell you the statement. Let's talk about that video statement. He said the election, he said in this statement on video, the election was stolen from us. He then said he won in a landslide. He then did tell the mob, you now have to go home. Then he called the election fraudulent. He said we need peace, then calls the mob very special, and said he loved them. Is that strong enough? Was that strong enough?
Look, what's going to happen tonight or tomorrow is the members of the House, the members of the Senate are going to go back in the U.S. Capitol, I suspect, and finish the job and finish their business.
Was that statement strong enough, Governor? I know you told me to do it.
We'll end this, and that's what needs to happen. I mean, this is a resilient country. It's a tough country. This was a real attack on our democracy today. But members of Congress, whatever they think about the election, will do their job, and this country will move forward.
Again, sir, was that statement strong enough from the president?
I'm sorry. Say that again. I'm sorry.
Again, that statement the president made that I quoted you.
Look,
in your mind, was that statement strong enough?
The statement from the president would have certainly been better if it just was a call to go home. That's what the statement should have said.
Let me ask you this, sir. Just based on what you know now, and again, I know you supported the president, and party loyalty aside, knowing what you know now, is there any part of you that has second thoughts about supporting President Trump?
No. No, look, I think the president, I like who he's put on the Supreme Court. He said he'd put conservatives on, circuit court, the district court. I think he's been good for our economy. I think he's looked out for the United States as far as trade issues, for example. So no, I don't have a question about that, but it's time to move on. Joe Biden has been elected president of the United States. He's going to be sworn in 2 weeks. And what we do in this country, and we do it very well, we have elections, we accept the results, we move forward.
Governor DeWine, looking ahead now, what are your concerns? What do you think the long-term effects of what we saw today could be?
Okay, I'm not getting him
all right,
all now.
Governor, do you hear me now? Do you hear me now?
No.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4.
Can
Hello?
you tell me what he said, Eric?
Hey, Russ, go ahead and ask again. Just ask a little bit slower.
Okay. Governor DeWine, can you hear me now?
No.
You still can't hear me.
It's horribly distorted.
Okay, I apologize.
It's horribly distorted.
I apologize for this.
Well, I don't know.
Let me try it one more time. If it doesn't work, we'll move on. But let me ask you this: looking ahead now, what are your concerns? What do you think the long-term effects of what we saw today could be?
The long-term effects of this whole thing, looking ahead.
Well, I am concerned what the long-term effects are of what happened today. I mean, we knew before today that we were a very divided country. But I think it's incumbent upon even people who think that Donald Trump did win, and there are respectable people who think that, they have to denounce what happened today. This is beyond acceptance. No one in a democracy, a country like ours, a great republic, can accept what happened today. So I think it's important for everyone to denounce this and say this is wrong. Look, we're a strong country. We've been through a lot. And I have great faith in the people of this country. But what happened today was bad. It's despicable. It has to be denounced. The pictures that we saw on TV today are just a kick in the gut. They're just like something you would see coming from some third world country. And we would normally shake our heads and say, gee, such and such a country, well, that's what they do. That's what happens. That's too bad. This was the United States. This was our country. And we have to denounce this.
Governor, I'm going to try one more, and then we'll call it a day. Again, you've been with us twice today. Really appreciate that. President Trump leaves office in 2 weeks. What do you think his legacy will be?
What do you think his legacy will be if he leaves in 2 weeks?
Well, I'm not good at writing history. You know, if you want to know that, you look at what historians look at 15, 20 years, 100 years from now. I'm not going to do that. I mean, I think, you know, he's been very successful in the things that I talked about in trade negotiations, standing up for this country, putting conservatives on the bench, certainly. But, you know, it's important what happens now in the next 2 weeks, too. And it's important that we have the correct transfer of power and this country moves on.
Governor Mike DeWine, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.